My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Thursday morning to you. Welcome to Charleston's Talk Show, Dave Allen Show, 580 WCHS. Hollywood Jeff Petty is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. We're brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group. The grand opening celebration of the all-new redesigned Thornhill Toyota is happening for the rest of the month. You can join the stations of WVRC Media, broadcasting live from the all-new Thornhill Toyota next Tuesday. More details to come. Check out Thornhill Toyota, WV.com for details. And we do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon this week. Par-Mar opening up 5 stores, 4 in Ohio and 1 in Virginia. That is Par-Mar's first store in Virginia. That one is due to open tomorrow in a community called Lowmore, Virginia. And also remember to stop by any of your favorite Par-Mar locations. Pick up a World's Best chocolate bar or a red stocking for the Christmas season, and all the proceeds will benefit the Children's Home Society of West Virginia. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Coming up on the show a little bit later on, Democratic Party Chair and Delegate Mike Pushkin will be stopping by. The subject of the gas crisis on the west side, certainly a big deal that interims. Earlier this week in Charleston, the heads of Mountaineer Gas, West Virginia American Water, speaking to committees there. Pushkin was one of those personally impacted by the outage, and of course he had questions. We're going to talk to him about that coming up a little bit later on in the show, and several items I want to get into as far as the news department goes. I do want to mention this, and I'll try to mention a little bit later on. Today is day 2 of the Astorgado and Charleston Police Department toy drive at the Benny Keatum Shrine on Courier Street. They'll be out there about 11 o'clock, so if you get an opportunity, stop by and help those folks out. We'll have more on that coming up a little bit later on. Let's welcome into the show Kanawha County Commissioner Ben Salango. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
I just learned something about you, and you and I have known each other for a number of years, but I had no idea that you also suffer from the sickness known as being a Dallas Cowboy fan. Until
it's not a sickness.
I did not know that. Now, my story goes back to the 77 season and the 78 Super Bowl where the Cowboys beat the Broncos. I chose the Cowboys because I liked the star and the helmet. That's why I chose them, and I've been an obsessive fan ever since.
I have been an obsessive fan since the 1970s. So the truth is, my dad was a Browns fan, and that made my older brother, naturally, a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Because they didn't want to like the same team, so they wanted to oppose each other. And then I had to pick a different team, and the Steelers and the Cowboys, the battles from the 70s were epic. So I picked the Cowboys, Roger Staubach. And,
Oh, I can name drop with you, man.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, all the way back to, I think 76 was the first. So I was 3 years old, and I remember, just wanting Cowboys gear. So, yeah. Go Cowboys.
And nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed. That's right.
Guarantee you that for Christmas or birthdays, whatever, I'm going to get stuff with a star on it or Marshall logo. That's pretty much what I get.
Wear it proudly.
Yeah, and I do. And I do. And after last Saturday, or Sunday, I should say, over Philadelphia, yeah, we're definitely.
Oh, there was a lot of trash talk before that game.
Where's your guy, Jared Page? He's a listener to this show. So Jared, how about them Cowboys?
Sorry about that, Jared.
Since we are talking sports, I want to talk a little bit about sports here in the Kanawha Valley, and I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about as well. But let's talk about what's been going on with the sports complexes and what is the latest with the proposed Capitol Sports Complex.
So the Capitol Sports Complex is moving along. I mentioned this on the news the other day. On a scale of 1 to 10, the Shawnee Sports Complex, as far as design, construction, completion, was a 2 out of 10. I mean, we own the property. It was done by one entity. It wasn't that complicated. ZMM did the architecture on it and did a great job. There's so many moving parts with the Capitol Sports Complex. It makes it more difficult. It just makes it more of a challenge. I mean, you've got 2 different entities. You've got ownership interests, with other entities, and it's very complicated. But we're moving through all that. So where we are now, we have a board in place. Obviously, we have. The architect's in place. We have an owner's rep in place. We put out a request for bids for the banking. Of course, everything you do, you have to put out the bids for. Yeah. I suspect we'll receive a lot of bids. And then we're going to look at additional financing, whether we can get some more support from the U.S. senators. Senator Manchin's already pledged significant support, and I think we'll be able to get even some more. And then whatever's left over, the city and the county will split 50-50. So I think we're going to have, over the next year, the architects will complete the drawings, and hopefully we'll put a shovel in the ground about a year from now.
Talk about the year that was 2023 as far as sports in general in the Kanawha Valley, out at Shawnee or different places. Let's kind of put a little bow on that, so to speak, about what kind of year it was.
The Shawnee Sports Complex had an amazing year. We've got USU Soccer, which is coming in and brought in about between $30 and $40 million in economic impact. When those tournaments come to town, you see it. You see it within a 3-hour radius of the complex. And quite frankly, the tournaments are so big that Shawnee can't handle them alone. We have to, our friends in Barbersville, and they've done some amazing upgrades.
I've got Chris Tatum. He's going to do the Mayor Monday segment next week. Chris is doing great things down there.
Chris, he really is, and he gets it. He gets it. So they invested in some turf fields in Barbersville, and so they're really good partners. We team up together, particularly on the larger tournaments. You're talking about 200, 250 team tournaments. So it's bringing in a lot of money. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The locals can play there during the week. We can practice. We can have games, and not just soccer. I mean, we had a big football tournament there last week. Brought in thousands of people. So it's good. Everything's going very well down there, and I think sports in general, particularly travel sports, Kanawha County was very smart to get in the game. The city of Charleston is very smart to get in the game because it brings in a lot of money. Anytime you can bring Ohio and North Carolina and Virginia dollars in town, you want to do that. People are spending their money here. They're getting the hotel rooms and buying gas and eating at the restaurants. And all you got to do is go down and ask the restaurant owners, during a tournament, how was it? And I will tell you that overwhelmingly they will say we had record weekends. When we have tournaments. So that's good. That's good for the economy.
Indeed it is. Kanawha County Commissioner Ben Salango is here. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by your local insurance experts from Brightway, the Maze Agency of Tays Valley. From your home to your car, even to your pet, Brightway, the Maze Agency will customize the perfect insurance plan for you. At Brightway, they aren't just agents, they're your friends and neighbors. Contact John and Sherry Maze today, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymaze.com. Ben, you wanted to talk about VOAD. That is the West Virginia Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster. What is the story there?
So, there was a lot going on with VOAD over the last few weeks, and the commission, we had awarded $50,000 to VOAD to fix bridges in the Upper Kanawha Valley after the flood. VOAD was instrumental in helping the folks up there, we had awarded $50,000 in bridge repair, because you have a lot of, and I'm not talking about like federal bridges or state-owned bridges. We're talking about these private bridges that people have that cross creeks, and those get washed out, and quite frankly, people can't get to their homes. So we had set aside $50,000 to do that. VO had to reach out to us about using that money for a different purpose. And we simply inquired, well, what purpose do you want to use it for? I mean, as long as it's for flood victims, quite frankly, I don't care. As long as it goes to the people of Upper Kanawha Valley, the flood victims, it wouldn't matter, but they wouldn't respond. They said, well, we're not going to tell you. I said, why don't you come in a public meeting and tell us? And then I believe from their standpoint, they believe that a miscommunication occurred. But, what we heard, and apparently what the governor's office heard, was there was an active federal investigation. So we were reluctant to leave that $50,000 out there, since they couldn't come in and explain it in a public meeting. And I had conversation with VOAS lawyers after the vote. I mean, the commission voted unanimously to rescind the letter of intent awarding the $50,000 for good reasons. I mean, can you imagine we gave $50,000 and then all of a sudden there's an issue with regard to a federal investigation or some indictment, and that money is gone. That would be hard to explain. You would probably have me on this program and be asking for some answers, which I probably could not provide.
Oh, yeah, sure. So
what we did was we revoked the letter of intent. Now, that is not to say that we're walking away from flood victims. I mean, if there's things that people need, we're going to do it. But just that specific issue, it raised some red flags that they wouldn't come into a public meeting and tell us what they wanted. Now, they didn't have any trouble going on media. I mean, they were on TV and they were on radio and they, did interviews, but for some reason they wouldn't come in and talk to the commission. So, I stand by my decision. I stand by the motion that I made to revoke that $50,000. I did talk to VOAS lawyer, a lawyer that I respect and trust, and he assured me that there's no active investigation. So I hope that's true, and I hope we can get these things ironed out. But just based on the information that we had at the time, we made the right decision.
I want to ask you about this, and I know there's not a whole lot that you can probably say at this point, but we had been told that this investigation continues into one of your fellow commissioners, Kent Carper, and grand jury is meeting. There have been media reports that said that there could be some news break in that aspect, in that regard, as it pertains to Commissioner Carper. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. We do know that, but there are some pretty serious allegations. Is there anything that you know of that you can say at this point?
Well, honestly, not much. A grand jury is very different than a typical jury. A grand jury just sits and hears evidence from one side. The prosecutor, for instance, they'll call witness or they'll present documents, and then the grand jury determines whether or not there's an indictment should be issued. And again, I don't practice criminal law, so I'm just speaking based upon probably amateurish knowledge, if anything else. But I do practice civil law, and I can tell you what a regular jury does, which is where you hear from both sides. So I do know that there's a grand jury investigation. I do know that one or more county employees were subpoenaed to testify in a grand jury. I do not know the status of the grand jury investigation, whether it has concluded, whether it will continue. I have no idea. In fact, probably the information I'm getting more than anywhere else is just from the media, because they were staked out in front of the courthouse yesterday and maybe even the day before. So I don't have a lot of information on it. Grand jury proceedings, unlike a civil jury, they're confidential. So the media can't go in and watch. Witnesses aren't allowed or should not talk about what they testified to in a grand jury. Now, I guess who is subpoenaed, depending on certain things, whether or not that is public information. But otherwise, there's just not a lot you can find out until there is or is not an indictment. And then I guess the indictment is released, either unsealed or released. But at this point, I am not aware of any indictment. I'm not aware of anything other than a grand jury investigation.
Can I ask if you were subpoenaed, or is that something you'd rather not say, or were you, or I'll let you handle that however you want, or Commissioner Wheeler for that matter?
Well, there was a news report on a couple of the subpoenas that were issued. Whether or not someone is subpoenaed, I don't know if that's confidential or not.
Okay.
But I will tell you that, if I get a subpoena to testify, It's not like I'm just going to throw it in the trash and not go.
You would know better than that.
That would be foolish.
Yeah.
That would be very foolish. So, at some point we'll see. But right now I don't know the status of what's going on. I know that there was something. The grand jury did convene at least yesterday, because I know that some of at least one, or perhaps more of our employees were over there yesterday. But I don't know what they said, don't know what questions were asked, anything like that. So, basically I can just say that, there's something going on, but I don't know what it is.
Okay. 921, let me knock out a couple texts before we let you go. Text says, not sure who gets the credit, but nice to see new hotels going into Dunbar in the shuttered Best America space.
Yeah. That is, anytime we can get new hotels, that's great. I mean, we definitely need them. And one of the things that we have to show, like if we're bidding a big tournament, is our capacity, our hotel capacity, how many rooms we have. And that has been a real problem for us over the years. When we're bidding on a 250-team tournament and we don't have the hotel capacity, and people have to stay an hour and a half away, they really get upset about that.
Yeah, well, sure they do.
So, it's great. The more hotels that we get, the better off we're going to be. And not just for sports tourism. I mean, we need them for business. We need them for, various things so people can come in and stay here. But the more hotels, the better, for sure.
Texas Salango for U.S. Senate. He needs to run.
I think I did that once on the governor's race. I watched that story. I'm not going to watch that movie again, man.
Oh, come on. Now, you're not done yet.
No, that's it's funny. Even though Jim Justice beat me like a rented mule, it was fun. I had a really good time. I mean, it's not something I regret for sure. Mm-hmm. Getting out and seeing different parts of the state, quite frankly, parts that I had not seen before, meeting people that I'm still in touch with now. It's now been, a couple of years. I'm still in touch with them now. It was really a good experience for me. Now, my family didn't like it so much, but I had a great time.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling you're going to run again for something. That's just speculation on my part. I don't think you're done. I don't think you're going to retire as a Kanawha County Commissioner. I think you'll be running for something.
I don't know. I'm enjoying the commission. I really do.
Yeah, well, it's one
fun.
day at a time.
We got a good crew over there. We got great.
And
people.
you're a young guy too.
Am I though?
Yeah, well, you're younger than I am. So, all right. Texas, why is the Kanawha County Commission contemplating giving money to VOAD when their former CFO embezzled $870,000 in federal and state money? No money to VOAD without external audits and controls.
Yeah, and I know there are audits going on right now. But no, I appreciate that text. That's something that we looked into, and that's why we did not hand the money over to them. It was actually a letter of intent, and any check written on the letter of intent would come from us. And so it would be used for a proper purpose. And that's why it kind of raised a red flag when they wanted to change, the intent of the $50,000 grant. Mm-hmm. And that's why we wanted to come in and explain it in public. Keep in mind, every dollar we award, and this is not just some, this is true. Every dollar we award is done in a public meeting. Absolute transparency. Doesn't matter what it is. It's all on our agenda, and it's all done in public. There's no backroom meetings, awarding money, nothing like that. It's all done in a public meeting. And so when we gave VOAD the $50,000 for bridges in the flooded areas of the Upper Kanawha Valley, we wanted to make sure that if it was changed, if the intent was changed, it was also done in a public meeting. Because imagine again, what would happen if we went in a back room and changed that, and then all of a sudden the money disappeared. So that's what raised the red flag. And again, I am aware of VOAD's previous issue. I know that there's some investigation into one of its executives or CFO or whoever it may be. But you also got to help the people when there's a flood. So you're kind of in a tight spot.
Sure, yeah.
You got to make sure you help people, but you also got to keep in mind that there was that issue that they had. And so that's why we did a letter of intent as opposed to just writing them a check for $50,000.
Okay. Kanawha County Commissioner Ben Salango, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Go Cowboys.
Hey, go Cowboys. Let's go.
And I hope you and your family have a very happy and safe Christmas season and a Happy New Year. We'll talk again in the new year. Thanks a lot, man.
Merry Christmas. Thanks.
All right, Ben Salango. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Whether you're replacing a roof, remodeling a kitchen, or replacing a bathroom to keep it safe and keep it legal, get with Pinnacle. They can inspect your site, collect samples, perform lab analysis, and provide results within a week. Testing all renovations for mold, asbestos, and lead. It's the law in West Virginia. Virginia. Visit pinnaclecorp.net for Pinnacle Consultants, because what you don't know can hurt you. All right, one last text just came in here. All right, and then I promise I'll let you go. Please ask Commissioner Salango about the complications involving the town center parking building where the sports complex is supposed to go. Unless it's been resolved, you are clearly sidestepping what a major complication this is with the project. So go ahead, and then I promise we'll let you go.
Well, there are complications. You nailed that. I mean, that's one of the moving parts that I was talking about. But we're not sidestepping anything, because I think there are alternative designs that we can put forward that may not involve the parking garages. So I'll just hang that out there and let you chew on it for a little while.
All right. You can really go this time, I promise. All right.
Okay.
All right, Ben. We'll talk to you in the new year. Thanks a lot, man. It's 9:26. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Every Saturday, you're invited to join me, Chris Lawrence, here on 580 WCHS for West Virginia Outdoors. We're on the air live at 7:06 with hunting and fishing stories from all across the Mountain State. Interesting guests give us insight into the outdoors, game and fish management, and celebrate the enjoyment of West Virginia's 2 most popular activities. West Virginia Outdoors, presented by the Peyton Law Firm. And if you miss us on Saturday, catch the replay Sunday afternoon. West Virginia Outdoors every weekend here on 580 WCHS, the voice of Charleston.
After years of decline, West Virginia's economy is finally on the rise, and it's been an all-hands-on-deck effort. A critical member of our state's economic development team has been Republican State Senator Glenn Jeffries. For decades, Glenn Jeffries has run a successful contracting business, creating thousands of good-paying jobs. Now, as chairman of the Economic Development Committee, Senator Glenn Jeffries works tirelessly to help bring new jobs to our state. Vote for more jobs. Vote for Republican Glenn Jeffries for State Senate. Paid for by the committee to elect Glenn Jeffries.
The time is finally here. It's the grand opening celebration of the all-new, redesigned Thornhill Toyota. Your next Toyota is waiting on the Thornhill Motor Mile in Chapmanville. Hey, this is Sydney, and I'm so excited to finally invite all of you to visit our new Thornhill Toyota facility. And just in time for Toyotathon, we're loaded and ready for your visit with the most inventory of the year of new Toyotas, certified Toyotas, and quality used vehicles. The grand opening celebration of the all-new Thornhill Toyota. Offers begin online at thornhilltoyotawv.com and drive on home from the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 Chapmanville. Visit Thornhill for all the great details.
928, West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. Take a few minutes to be inspired and join the collective effort to make a difference. Not just a story, it's a movement of hope and triumph and more, reminding us all that every individual deserves a chance to shine. In West Virginia and beyond, Huntington truly making a difference right here at home. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Our texts to the show are sponsored by Fruth Pharmacy. Check out the Fruth Pharmacy gift guide for great deals this holiday season. You'll find gifts under $10, super savers, hot buys, and brand new products for the holidays. Find gift sets for men and women, toys for the tots, cozy throws, quilts, and more. Shop locally. Shop Fruth Pharmacy. Visit in-store, online, or by phone, and try their curbside pickup service, too. Fruth's been your hometown pharmacy for 71 years. Text says, Dear Dave, Ben Salango is a Cowboys fan. I knew there was something I didn't like about him. I found it. Ding, ding, says a texter. Well, you've heard me talk about it for the last couple days, and once prior to that on the show, the Charleston Police Department and Astorgado's toy drive. Now, it started yesterday and wraps up today in the parking lot of the Benny Keatum Shrine in Collier Street. So come on out, bring some new toys out there to be distributed to those kids that may not otherwise get a toy or two this Christmas season. And hats off to Charleston Police Lieutenant David Payne, Rob King, and John Brown, and everyone at Astorgado, and Lauren Swanson for making the entire thing possible. Now, if you can't get somewhere to get a new toy, they do accept cash. You can do the QR code thing, whatever you want, they'll take it. And if you work in downtown Charleston, the weather is going to be absolutely beautiful. So get out of the office today and please go help them out. The sports world has been watching this Raekwon battle story unfold in the courts. Greg Carey with the lead story this morning at WVMetroNews.com. In Wheeling yesterday, District Judge John Preston Bailey issued a 14-day temporary restraining order against the NCAA, allowing undergraduate athletes in college that have transferred multiple times be allowed to play immediately. Now, the overall case is listed as Ohio versus the NCAA. 7 attorneys general are involved in the case, including our own Attorney General, Patrick Morrisey. Now, there's next going to be a hearing on the restraining order on December 27th in Wheeling, where, according to Greg Carey's story, again, listen to the website, a more permanent ruling is expected at that time. Now, Raekwon Battle is a fifth-year basketball player for WVU and hasn't gotten to play yet this season. The opposition in the case is being led by Charleston-based attorney Ben Bailey, who is fighting on behalf of the NCAA. Now, why is all this important to this show? Well, because, as I said earlier, there are several attorneys general involved in this case, including our own Patrick Morrisey, who also is a candidate for governor. So in a week where Secretary of State and gubernatorial candidate Mac Warner seems to be getting all the headlines, now the front runner in the race, Attorney General Patrick Morrisey, is getting so. Now, to be fair, I mean, Patrick Morrisey's worked on cases like this in the past, but it can't hurt. It's what we call earned media, you know. And Patrick Morrisey has never been one who had a hard time finding a camera or finding a way to make it onto the front pages or on the air somewhere, including on this show and others. And while I'm talking about gubernatorial candidates, I want to mention this: 1 week from today, delegate and Republican candidate for Governor Moore Capito will be on the show. So Patrick Morrisey's getting some airtime right now on this. And again, in a week where everything's been about Mac Warner since the gubernatorial discussion, debate, whatever you want to call it, last Thursday night in Morgantown. So now I guess the other two, Moore Capito and Chris Miller, are going to have to find a way to get their time out there. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Hudson's Pizza. This month at your favorite Hudson's, get the special holiday pack, perfect for your Christmas and New Year's get-togethers. You can get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza, 10 breadsticks, 12 hot wings, and a 2-liter of Pepsi, only $33.99. Find your local Hudson's at Hudson'sPizza.com. A programming note about tomorrow's show. It is Friday Funhouse. Tomorrow, we got filmmaker extraordinaire Danny Boyd is going to be on the show tomorrow. Plus, Hannah Gardner from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association is here with the Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. And Evan Osborne from Capital Market will be stopping by the show tomorrow as well. And as was expected, Governor Justice yesterday appointed State Revenue Secretary Dave Hardy to the open seat on the Kanawha County Circuit Court bench. That spot made available, of course, following the death of Judge Joanna Tabbitt. Jeff Jenkins with the story posted at WVMetroNews.com. Dave Hardy has been serving as a state revenue secretary, and I kind of tripped over the words there because yesterday, if you caught the governor's briefing, he referred to State School Board President Paul Hardesty as Paul Harvey yesterday, so I just called him Dave Harvey. It's Dave Hardy, and he has been serving as State Revenue Secretary, and I actually reached out to Mr. Hardy about coming on the show today. He was unavailable, got business to attend to, but he is going to be on the show next Tuesday, I think. The governor, at the same time, appointed former delegate and Justice Senior Advisor Larry Pack to take Dave Hardy's spot as Revenue Secretary. Now, Larry Pack will be on the show on Monday. All the big names coming here. Now, back to Dave Hardy for a moment. He announced on this show not long ago that he would be running for the circuit judgeship. So now he'll have experience in putting the robe on early because he, again, was appointed by the governor yesterday, and he will run for that office starting, I guess, officially in January. The judicial elections, by the way, are decided in the May primary. So there you go. It is 25 minutes away from 10. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. From kitchens to paints to decks, straight framing wood, roofing, metal, anything else you need, you'll find it at General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. We're taking a break. Mike Pushkin is up next. We're back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
Elevators. You take them for granted until they let you down. If you're working to maintain a stellar reputation, then let me introduce you to DC Elevator. We want to work with you to make sure your people get where they are going. What could be better than a new company coming to the area and already having 45 years of experience? DC Elevator is bringing a new culture of elevator maintenance, repairs, modernization, and installation to West Virginia. Don't leave your people hanging. For a free consultation, call DC Elevator at 304-345-7222.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The time is finally here. It's the grand opening celebration of the all-new, redesigned Thornhill Toyota. Your next Toyota is waiting on the Thornhill Motor Mile in Chapmanville. Hey, this is Sydney, and I'm so excited to finally invite all of you to visit our new Thornhill Toyota facility. And just in time for Toyotathon, we're loaded and ready for your visit with the most inventory of the year of new Toyotas, certified Toyotas, and quality used vehicles. The grand opening celebration of the all-new Thornhill Toyota. Offers begin online at ThornhillToyotaWV.com and drive on home from the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 Chapmanville. Visit Thornhill for all the great details.
23 minutes away from Tampa. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Meeks Realty Group. As a locally owned real estate powerhouse, they specialize in residential and commercial properties. No property too big or too small for Meeks. With their team of the finest realtors in the business, Meeks Realty Group is your trusted partner in finding your dream home or your dream commercial investment. Call them today, 304-401-1101, or visit Meeks.us. Hollywood Jeff Petty is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Text says, Dave, maybe a little history lesson tomorrow on Saturday, December 16th, marking 250 years since the Sons of Liberty carried out the Boston Tea Party. As a texter. Delegate, State Democratic Party Chair Mike Pushkin is here. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm a little cold.
It's a little cold in here. Yeah, we're suffering from a lack of heat on this part of the building, not only here, but parts are ordered.
Well, unfortunately, I got quite used to not having heat there for a while, going about.
Should be right at home in here.
Yeah, I feel right at home. Feels like the West Side. Although most of us over there have been reconnected and have our appliances fixed by now. Except there are unfortunately still a few folks who have not been made fully whole yet, but hopefully that's coming soon.
I wanted to talk about interims, of course, that were held this past week, wrapped up, I guess, on Tuesday. Is that right? Yeah. The highlight, I guess, from a media perspective, would be the heads of Mountaineer Gas and West Virginia American Water speaking in front of a committee. Now, I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were not part of the committee, but you were allowed to take part in it because of your situation, because you were one of the ones affected, right?
Well, I was one of the ones affected. I think the only member of the legislature who was affected by it. I think, but either way, I was the one that called for the hearing.
Right. Yeah.
And in doing so, I called the respective chairs of the joint committee. So you have a House chair and a Senate chair. The House chair is Daniel Linville. Senate chair is Ben Queen from up in Clarksburg. I got in touch with them before I did it. It wasn't blindsiding anybody because I really wanted to have the hearing, and they were cooperative. I really appreciate that. And then the chair who was presiding on that day was Senator Queen. recognized me first for some questions. And what I was really pleasantly surprised by is that delegates and senators from all over the state were very interested and had some great questions. And it wasn't just me asking questions as a resident of the West Side. There's people from all over the state because they know it could happen where they live as well.
Yeah,
where we have unfortunately very old infrastructure and some issues with utilities. Let's face it.
Were you satisfied with the answers that you got from Mountaineer Gas and West Virginia American Water?
No, not at all. But we did get some good answers. But I didn't expect any major admissions of guilt. When there's a class action suit and they're most likely suing each other. But we did get a lot of information. It was very informative. It was very productive. About the age of the pipes. The water. The water main, which was they said it was both a transmission and a distribution line, so high pressure. I mean that the pressure on that on a transmission line is very strong, and of course it would take something like that to penetrate a gas line. Of course, they weren't admitting to that. They said that there could have there was no admission, for sure. And it's still don't know exactly how something like that could have happened. We didn't get to the bottom of that. I think we will eventually. But we did get the age of the pipes, the distance. They were very close to each other. Of course, one thing that we knew the residents of the West Side knew about, but it was important to have Mountaineer Gas at least say that they have no public alert system in place. To me, that's just. That's ridiculous. They have our phone numbers. They have our email addresses. Yeah. There's a way to contact
It's not hard to do. Everybody texts pretty much now, 99.9% of the population. As I mentioned on the show, even where I'm from in southern West Virginia, we had a texting service 10 years ago.
It's not hard to do. I can tell you as chair of the Democratic Party, both political parties do it. You get unwanted text messages all the time from different groups. It's not hard to do. To send out a text blast. Who the customers are that were affected. That would have gone a long way just to let people know what was going on.
Is that something
more communication is always better?
Mike, is that something that the legislature can try to get done to? Is there a way that you can
I certainly hope
that
so.
you can mandate?
I'm going to try
because and I would think that's bipartisan. I can't imagine anybody would fight that because with all due respect to Mountaineer Gas, they said that the way that they notify their customers is going door to door, and there were so many that they haven't even gotten yet because I don't know where they are.
Not everybody's home, although people work during the day.
Yeah,
sometimes
some people work overnight.
It's hard to get in touch with people that way. It seems a lot more efficient to have a text blast or an email sent out, or even robocalls. Or there are a lot of different ways in this day and age to communicate with people rather than going door to door. So I do believe that's something the legislature can and should do. I'm going to draft the legislation. We do require that of water utilities. If there's, unfortunately, we have a lot of boil water advisories in this state. And when that happens, whether it's a private corporation like West Virginia American Water or a publicly owned utility like it should be, they're required either way. They're required to, email you, text you, call you. I think they go door to door as well. They are required to let people know when there's a boil water advisory. So the same should be not just of the gas company, but of all utilities. They should. You would think that they would be required to have a public alert system in place. Well, apparently they're not, but hopefully they will be.
Tex says, ask Mike why the heads of the water company and the gas company weren't sworn in.
That's a very good question. I was hoping they would be sworn in. Apparently, it's only on the House side. During House committee meetings, we swear in witnesses. The presiding chair was a senator, and I asked him about it afterwards. Like, why didn't you swear them in? And he said, we don't do that on the Senate side. Now, it was a joint committee, so there were delegates and senators present, but the presiding chair was Senator Queen, and he did not swear them in.
But, you don't really know why, other than we just don't do that?
The Senate doesn't swear in witnesses.
Okay.
The House does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mike, we spent a lot of time on this show and on Talkline and other shows, too, talking about the comments made last week as part of the gubernatorial debate moderated by Hoppy Kercheval from our studios in Morgantown. The comments coming from Secretary of State and Republican candidate for Governor Mac Warner saying that the 2020 presidential election was not only stolen, but stolen in some sort of conspiracy involving the CIA, big tech, and others. I had Secretary Warner on the show yesterday. Then I went on Talk Line with Dave Wilson to talk about it yesterday. Your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, I think it's really his statements are unfounded and, in my opinion, quite frankly, unhinged. And, to blame the CIA and the FBI for some sort of, Alex Jones style conspiracy theory. Sorry, but that's what it sounded like. All I could think of is the 140 stars on the wall at I believe in Langley at the CIA headquarters, and those stars symbolize men and women who gave their life in service to this country, who work for that agency. And I think it's a disservice to their memory. Quite frankly, I think he did himself a great disservice. Secretary Warner did by repeating this conspiracy theory that's completely unfounded, and there's absolutely no evidence to back that up.
Well, from a marketing standpoint, though, it's got him a lot of attention over the last week.
Well, if that's all he's trying to do,
and I'm not saying that's what he's trying to do,
trying to make himself relevant in a race where I'm not sure. I haven't checked the Republican polling lately, but I imagine that
most polls have him in third.
In third place.
And I think that
it's an attempt. I mean, he's a good guy. I like him, but I think it's just it's an attempt for relevancy in a race that he's not gaining a whole lot of traction in. Sorry, that's how I feel. I don't think there's any evidence to back up his point at all. And as the chief election officer of the state, I think it's really dangerous rhetoric coming from him.
Well, and I've said this on the show, and we'll move on. I like Mac Warner. I certainly respect his military career and his accomplishments thereof. And I worked for him for 4 years. He was a great boss, and I consider him to be a great friend. I have a picture of the two of us hanging above my desk upstairs. But it's just one of the things you don't always agree with your boss or even your former boss. I just can't go along with it myself. And I'm hearing more and more from a lot of Republicans, people that have reached out to me, not anonymous texts like I get to the show, but people that have reached out to me saying, I can't go there.
Mm-hmm.
And
do they do that publicly? Will they say it out loud in public?
No, and
maybe they should. Maybe that would keep it from happening.
No,
so much.
And that's a major issue that I have with a lot of people in the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. Take Trump for example. I know a lot of people that on the Republican side that do not support Donald Trump and haven't, mainly after January 6th, but will not say anything.
Absolutely.
Publicly.
Yeah. And I hear it all the time.
And as a Republican, who's somebody who goes on this show and says daily that I am not a Trump supporter, I was at one time, I'm not anymore. If you want to get rid of Trump, the Republicans have got to stand up, and they've got to put somebody else on there. But anyway, that's another story for another time.
What's the quote about good people being silent? It only takes for evil to
succeed is for good men to do nothing.
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know who said that.
Well,
we'll credit it. Jeff Petty, our producer, said that.
Thank you, Jeff.
I appreciate it.
Incredibly wise of you.
All right, let me see. I got a text here for you. It says, "Dear Dave, I saw Mike on the news last night. Looking good, dude."
Thanks. I was on the news last night.
Apparently, you were.
Good.
Apparently, I was on the news last night, too. Somebody just sent me that. Lead paint chip. I got a texter that's convinced that Mac Warner eats lead paint. I never saw that one.
I just got a text. And somebody corrected me, said, because I'm not in the Senate. I don't participate in Senate hearings when it's during the session. But I was just corrected that the Senate does swear people in. So I don't know. I can't answer the question why the chairman didn't swear in the presidents of West Virginia American. When I asked, I was told that they didn't. Apparently, I'm wrong. Either way, I don't. There were a lot of questions that weren't answered. And I believe they will be. It'll all come out in the wash eventually. But we did get some good technical answers about the material of the pipe, the diameter of the pipe, how close they were together. There was a lot of information there.
And it wasn't, and I talked about it a little bit earlier, it was earlier this week, by standards of infrastructure and pipes, they really weren't that old. I mean, those were
the gas pipe was pretty old.
But one of them, was it the water or the gas that was just put in like the late 80s? And
the water pipe was from 87. The gas pipe was from 1917.
Okay. All right. And
However, a gas pipe, but then again, that's very old. But gas pipes are low pressure pipes. It's just gas. It's not high pressure water going through it. At least it's not supposed to be. I guess it was, but it's a low pressure gas pipe. So I don't think it's that uncommon to have gas pipes that old.
Okay. Text says, this is the Texas Charter Radio. Mac Warner cried about social media companies putting their fingers on the scale of elections, yet he doesn't say anything about conservative mega donors doing the same. If Republicans didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all.
Oh, let's talk about conservative mega donors.
Okay.
Actually, some of the donors aren't all that conservative, to tell you the truth.
All right.
But, recently, Senator Carnes, our dear friend, Senator Carnes.
he was on the show.
Has he been on this show?
Once.
You should have him back.
Once.
He's very interesting. Anyway, he was kicked out of the Republican caucus, and apparently what it was for was he was accused of, and he's claiming he didn't do it, but he was accused of sharing a list of donors at an event the Senate Republicans held up at Edgewood this past Saturday. That was what we're hearing was, and it's been really common knowledge around the Capitol for a while. There was $10,000 to get in front of the caucus, $10,000 a piece to sponsor this event, and it's kind of implied for lobbyists that if they don't pony up, they're going to have a harder time getting things done. I just think that's not the way government's supposed to work here in America. Our government's not supposed to be for sale. I know a lot of folks who need help. They need their representatives to occasionally to help improve their lives, address issues. But you know what? They don't have $10,000 to put into Craig Blair's caucus fund. So unfortunately, they're going to have less of a voice at the Capitol. So yeah, they kicked out they kicked out Carnes for I guess allegedly he was accused of spilling the beans about this fundraiser that was $10,000 a piece. But nobody's really addressing the real issue, and that's this pay-to-play scheme that's going on at the Capitol and has been for quite some time.
But I mean, it's a private fundraiser. I mean, do Democrats not do similar things?
Politicians have fundraisers, correct. Different committees and parties have fundraisers, but it's not implied that it just aimed at lobbyists. If you want to get in front of the caucus, you got to give the max contribution, which is $10,000 to that committee. No, that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Okay. All right. I think we have a phone call. We'll take this and then we'll go to break. Jim, you're on with Mike and Dave. Go ahead.
Hello, Dave. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Jim. It's good to hear you.
You're sitting on the front seat on the TV on that committee thing. I think that was the best thing that ever happened because you were right there in the mix of it. You knew what was going on and everything like that, so they weren't able to disregard the questions that were being asked, and they had to give some answers.
Okay. All right, Jim, I appreciate you calling us up this morning.
I have a hard time hearing in the Senate chamber for some reason. The acoustics in there, maybe I'm just not used to it. Since I'm
too many years of playing that guitar.
I don't know what it is, but I can't hear very well in the Senate chamber. So, yeah, if I want to really hear what's going on, I got to sit up front.
All right. Texas Dave, politicians should stay out of our sports. Just look at what's happened to our local sports, dividing our communities and colleges, paying players. Tex says Mac Warner is alt-right and would abuse executive power. They are Republican, there are Republicans that know this. Tell everyone publicly. Tex says, is Pushkin playing Christmas music this year? If so, could he play Frosty the Snowman? I know the last time he said it wasn't a Christmas song. However, I recently discovered it was co-written by Jack Rollins, who was raised and is buried in Kaiser, West Virginia.
Okay. I think that he wrote some other songs as well.
All right.
But you know what? I will, we got a request. It gives me enough time to learn it. You're on. Frosty the Snowman.
All right,
wait a second. Am I doing a Christmas song?
We're going to talk about that, but we got to take this break. We're back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
Are you worried about retirement? Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is the premier retirement planning service in West Virginia. With years of experience and a commitment to personalized service, we'll work with you to create a customized retirement plan that addresses your unique needs and goals. Whether you're just starting to plan or nearing retirement age, Stike Wealth Enhancement Group makes the process easy and stress stress-free. Visit StykeWEG.com for more information.
Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
What a wonderful and blessed year 23 has been for Jim Strawn and Company. We are so grateful and appreciative of the many individuals, organizations, and businesses that have entrusted our company with your marketing needs. As our 8th year begins, we look forward to another prosperous year and trust that 2024 will be your best year yet. If we can help, let us know. 304-541-4756. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. Enjoy the season.
The time is finally here. It's the grand opening celebration of the all-new, redesigned Thornhill Toyota. Your next Toyota is waiting on the Thornhill Motor Mile in Chapmanville. Hey, this is Sydney, and I'm so excited to finally invite all of you to visit our new Thornhill Toyota facility. And just in time for Toyotathon, we're loaded and ready for your visit with the most inventory of the year of new Toyotas, certified Toyotas, and quality used vehicles. The grand opening celebration of the all-new Thornhill Toyota. Offers begin online at ThornhillToyotaWV.com and drive on home from the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 Chapmanville. Visit Thornhill for all the great details.
5 away from 10. Mike Pushkin is here. Running short on time. Text says the Republicans learned that pay-to-play scheme for the 80 years that the Democrats ran the store, Michael.
Well, let me say, as long as I've been there, I've not seen the Democrats do anything nearly as egregious as what took place up at Edgewood Country Club this past weekend. And I can tell you with great certainty there was nothing in the coffers when I got there. And at this event, I saw the list of sponsors. There were 56 of them. Apparently, they were paying $10,000 apiece. I'm not great at math, but that's $560,000 to the Republican Senate caucus. Now, what's different about this than an average fundraiser? Usually, you go to political fundraisers, and I'm sure you've been to a few, Dave. Mm-hmm. A couple people get up.
I didn't pay $10,000.
No, but people will get up and talk about the candidate. The candidate gets up, or the committee chair, whatever it happens to be. This was very different, as this had lobbyists who paid to be sponsors get up and make presentations in front of the decision makers. They made the presentations in front of the people who were going to be voting on policy. So their voice is going to be a lot louder and more likely to be heard than average people who can't afford, just about everybody who can't afford to pay $10,000 to get in front of their senator. It's disgusting.
Text says, Dave, you no longer support Trump, and that's fine, but you seem to have a bit of a problem with those who do and with those who believe there was fraud in 2020, even though you say you don't. So much for others' right of freedom of thought. I like you and Hoppy both, but you both do that. Go back and listen to some old shows. And look, I believe people can support whomever they want. That's a great thing about America. And there's been no proof of any that the election was stolen in 2020. Joe Biden is president of the United States. I didn't vote for him, and I won't vote for him in 2024 either.
Who are you going to vote for?
As of any Republican other than Trump, I'll tell you that. And not Ramaswamy, because I can't go there.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get this in here. A little show preview for next week. The final show before Christmas. We started doing this first year I did the show, I guess, in 2020. It's 1 week from tomorrow. We always do it on the final show before Christmas, and that'll be on a Friday next week. It is the Jewish Christmas Spectacular, starring Michael Ari Pushkin and myself.
I didn't know a star. I think you're starring. I'm the co-star.
You're just now learning that. No, but you're going to come in as is tradition. You're going to come in next Friday. Bring your guitar. There's going to be other guests in the studio as well. I'm working on some other guests that are going to come in with you. But
hopefully they can sing better than me.
Well, I'm working on some people. You're a fine singer and a fine guitar player, Michael. But we are going to do that next Friday. And now you've got a request.
For Frosty the Snowman.
For Frosty the Snowman. Do you think you can pull that? I mean, I'm not a musician. Doesn't seem like it should be that difficult.
I don't know. I've never tried to play it, tell you the truth. But we'll see. I mean, hopefully I can learn it. I'll try. I'll do my best.
We'll have some other guests in here next week to maybe help you out with that. How's that?
Yeah. Get some talented folks in here to cover for me. That's what I always did when I played in bands. I'd always work with people who are a lot more talented than I am.
I always like to kid my friends that are drummers. The old joke was, what do you call a guy? What do you call a guy that travels around with a bunch of musicians?
Yeah.
A drummer.
A drummer.
Yeah. All right. The show is brought to you by With the Vinyl Frontier and East Coast Tees, make a statement for your campaign with the Vinyl Frontier and East Coast Tees. Go to eastcoasttees.com, see what they can do for you. Mike, thanks for being here. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Happy 7th day of Hanukkah to you.
Absolutely. And I will see you next Friday.
Next Friday, I'll be here.
With guitar in hand. Friday Funhouse is tomorrow. Special guest will be filmmaker Danny Boyd. He's going to be my co-host on the show tomorrow. Hannah Gardner will be here with our Not Me Please Pet of the Week from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association, and Evan Osborne from Capital Market will be stopping by the show tomorrow as well. Dave Wilson's in for Hoppy. Follow the news of the day, WVMetroNews.com and WCHSNetwork.com. My producer, Hollywood Jeff Petty. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun. I love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.